Hello everybody, my name is Amol Patel. I'm in Los Angeles. You're watching the Smoking Hot Coffee Show, where every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we talk to startup founders. I'm joined with...
Hey guys, I'm Jeff Pelton down here in San Diego.
And today we have nothing short of an epic interview with LA-based entrepreneur Espree Devora from SaveBusinessTime.com. We talked for almost 2 hours, it felt like, on several topics encompassing outsourcing, the LA tech scene, how to build authenticity and the voice of your product, and when you're building a startup. We cover so many topics, Jeff. How do you even summarize this?
You don't. I think, like I said, I think we forced the audience to just watch it or listen, because there's so much good stuff in here that you're going to want to. And it's action-packed. Great guest. She tells us how she has some background in entrepreneurship since she was a kid, some of her early story, but she's now a writer at TechZulu. A lot of great articles over there that you guys can check out, but also her latest project, SaveBusinessTime.com, is a really great product. But mainly, like you said, we talk about some of the philosophy of building relationships through these products, how to be authentic, and we talk about the LA tech scene and the Southern California tech scene and Silicon Valley tech scene, and how we can all get along happily.
Right. And so really briefly covering just the product design, being authentic, making a person, when they come to the site and when they sign up and when they use the product and when they get the emails, making that feel real, making it feel like it's not a robot, is really big. And I
think it's a great timely conversation, because we're being inundated more than ever, right? In our social feeds, our inboxes, and everywhere online, we're just being inundated with messages.
And the first thing when you get a welcome email is you tend to ignore it. Several emails later, maybe you'll delete it. Maybe you'll go back. Maybe you won't. A lot of these startups, they're not mining your social data. Maybe they need to mine more of that and get to know you a little bit better. I talked to her about how do you scale authenticity. Maybe you can't. And she talked about maybe using a virtual team to help with that.
Well, not to help scale the authenticity, I don't think, but to help scale your business, maybe.
But scale your business, and
right.
I'm actually thinking about how do you scale authenticity? Is that even possible? I mean,
I don't think so. That's one question I had. Right? Is how do you draw that line? How do you know what tasks to outsource? And I think that was one of the things that she has obviously figured out, is how to outsource all of the tasks that that don't require the authenticity, so that she can focus on the relationships, which is super important.
And Jeff's pushing back on me on this, because by definition, scaling authenticity doesn't work, because how could you be authentic if it's scaled? That doesn't make any sense, Amul. And I get that. I get that. But in order to get sometimes that hockey stick growth, in order to have a big footprint with a small team, you almost feel like you need to scale some of that stuff. So we talked a lot about that. It was a really great conversation. She's really, really real. She's really expressive. She's super authentic, and she's
perfect
very
guest for the show.
And she's
Didn't hold anything back. Told us a few secrets and read some emails that maybe she shouldn't have, and we love it. Yeah,
it was really great. It was a breath of fresh air, in my opinion. And she's a veteran of the LA scene, and she talked a lot about that, and we talked about the incubators and investors and technology and her history in the space, and so you're going to learn a lot about that as well. And overall, if you're remotely interested in outsourcing and figuring out how to maybe create a product that feels human to people, you definitely want to watch this interview. And if you're in LA, you should watch it for sure. With that, Jeff, if you have anything else
I think if you're anywhere in the world, you should listen to this interview. I think we'd learn a lot of great stuff in this, and it's really motivating, I think, to hear these kinds of stories, and really gets the entrepreneurial wheels turning. And
you know what's funny? I forgot to mention that she's a woman, and she's a woman in tech, and
as we discussed in the conversation, though, that needs not be mentioned. I think her success speaks for itself.
Yeah. Well, I'm mentioning it because there tends to be a dearth of women in tech, and one of the main reasons why I brought her on was simply because she's a woman, and that factored for me. But she pushed back on that, and that was valid. And so, anyways, you'll get to hear that as well. So overall, I think this is a really great, entertaining interview. Definitely watch it. We look forward to your feedback and comments, and of course, please subscribe. Jeff?
Yep, absolutely. We covered a lot of great topics in this today, guys. Please give us your feedback. Email us at info@smokinghotcoffee.com. You can also reach us on Twitter and everywhere else through our website, smokinghotcoffee.com, where at the top we have a link to subscribe through all of the channels that you're on.
Great. And if you are available Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we stream this live, so you can definitely get your startup fixed that way as well. So with that, let's go to our interview. All right. Well, Espree, thanks for coming on Smoking Hot Coffee. Really appreciate it. How you doing today?
I'm fabulous. Amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. It's really great to have you on for several reasons. The first is you're from LA. You're an LA startup, which is awesome. We talked to so many that are in Silicon Valley or Sunnyvale or around the world, so it's great that you're here in LA.
I feel very frozen.
There we go. All right. Yeah, so you're an LA startup. So that's really great. The other reason why I'm really excited to have you on, I know Jeff is feeling the same way, is that you're a woman.
Oh, am I?
Yes, you are.
Women
that is the
entrepreneurs are rare.
We got a lady from LA doing the startup thing. I thought that was awesome, right, Jeff? Come on, Jeff, you gotta.
Yeah, it's totally awesome. It's great. You're a rare breed, right?
A rare, super rare breed.
That's what they say.
We're always rooting for the SoCal
It is truly a sausage fest out there.
Can we talk about that for a little bit?
We could absolutely talk about it. It's a big problem.
It's
It's a big issue. You know what's actually interesting is that we covered a startup in Sunnyvale. Actually, she's a woman from Jordan, and she's come up with an app that you take photographs of women wearing clothing, and it'll it's like Shazam for clothing. It'll figure out what they're wearing and pull out the clothing from the big database, and it was great. And she's obviously she's a woman. She thinks about fashion, that sort of thing, and she approached it in that way. So anyways, before we get off topic, so give us a little bit about your background, what you're in the startup game, you're in LA, how'd you get into this, all that kind of thing.
So I'm born and raised LA. So that was just a lucky fluke. Moving to Santa Monica, on the other hand, was also a lucky fluke. The startup scene didn't exist in Santa Monica when I got here.
Right.
I became an entrepreneur when I was a teenager. Both my parents are very entrepreneurial. I don't really think I knew the term entrepreneur or startup or any of that stuff. There's just stuff that I loved, like action sports. It's also called extreme sports. My dad would take me to motocross events, and I had skateboarder friends and all this stuff growing up. And then my dad also had a home office, so I'd be playing on Prodigy and stuff like that.
I remember Prodigy, yeah.
In his home office, and it was amazing, the chat rooms and all that. And I think I could have very easily been a programmer if he just pushed me in one direction. I'm kind of upset at him for not.
Wow. So why didn't you go that route? When you say, I mean,
I didn't know. I was just immersed with it. He had one of the first cell phones. Remember, the cell phones in Wall Street with the big bulky things. Yeah. It's so I was around all this stuff. I guess he was an early adopter, is what the kids call it these days.
Right.
And so I just did that one on my path, and then as I got a bit older, I was like, well, why don't I want to do this thing with sports and technology and the internet, because I love these things. I'm going to do this stuff. Right. And so for a long time, I just did stuff. Okay. It wasn't entrepreneurial. I mean, I was building a business, but I didn't understand it. For me, one of the first types of businesses I learned was e-commerce. And so to learn that there's this thing called e-commerce, even this phrase e-commerce and what that means, and I was at the very first, I think it was the first eBay conference.
Oh.
So that was really exciting.
Wow, that must have been ages ago. What would time, 7, 8 years ago maybe?
Right, and so now conferences are a thing, right? But back then it was whoa.
Yeah.
There's this place to go. I think it was in New Orleans or something. There's this place to go. Cool. First of all, I get to New Orleans, and that's an adventure in itself. There wasn't this connected startup community. So I'm this warrior out, around finding these things this eBay conference, and then I go there and I find a hostel and I meet these cool people in the hostel, and they have interest but not startup. It's it's traveling or whatever. And then I go to this eBay conference and I meet all these people, and they wouldn't call themselves entrepreneurs either. And this is before eBay came out with it. It was they came out with having an eBay store, where people could have their physical shops. Okay. So this is where they were trying to educate people about that. So imagine how big that became later, but this is the very beginning. So all these people are trying to see if they want to get involved in this thing, cool. And then we're all just doing this cool stuff.
Right.
So for years it was like that, and now there's this whole community around it. But I was able in my journey of being an entrepreneur to have raised money, to have built a team, to yes, be surrounded around mostly men, because in technology and action sports it's really male dominated.
Right.
And I have some interesting perspectives on that, but because I don't view myself as a female entrepreneur, although it's cool, I'll take it. Like I was telling someone, hey, listen, I'll take the open door. I don't really care. You know?
No, it's a totally open door. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just see myself as an entrepreneur. So when I go in a room, I see a lot of people that have a lot of the same drive and ambition that I do. And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't see a room full of men. And if anything, a lot of times, like, I appreciate in environments like that we're just talking about getting things done. Right. We're not talking about whether we're a female or a male, you know? Right. And I appreciate the topic of, like, how are we going to make stuff happen? How are we going to make things possible?
Okay, well, come on, Espree. Let's be real here. You know, it's always guys. You're probably like the one woman in the room full of dudes.
Yeah.
That's gotta be.
There's like 5 women now.
Oh, really? Okay, that's 5. That's good. That's good. That's helpful.
It's got a little bit bigger.
That's helpful. I mean, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong. You've been to several hackathons. Are there any ever females? I mean, there's probably like one, right?
No, there are. They're not usually the programmers, or maybe a designer or a business development.
What's that thing that some girls are called? In actions, I don't know if can I say anything on
you can absolutely say anything. Yeah.
In action sports, it's called bro hose. What's it called? Like,
That's
girls who just want to be around the Zuckerbergs, so they like get dressed in this scanty clothes. I have no problem with bro hose, but
that's cool. Bro hose. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. That is great. You can even call it coder hose, even possibly, if you can.
I don't know.
Nerd hose. Yeah, I don't know.
Listen, I'm not calling disclaimer, I'm not calling women anything negative. This is just a term in the action sports industry people use to describe groupies. Like in music, groupies. It's the same thing as groupies.
Right. Gotcha.
So it's people that don't actually have the talent that people are gathering around for. It's to support the talent.
Right. Yeah. Thank God for that. Yeah. Thank goodness. All right. So tell us. So you actually had a business going several years ago. When was?
Yeah. So eventually, what happened was, certain things just started to take place. Like I started to witness companies like YouTube was taking off, and so when I was starting,
we're talking 96 frame, right? Or not 2006? Sorry.
No, so I started. I started sooner than 2004, but 2004 was a really a pivotal year for me. Okay. So I kind of like base everything around 2004. So my e-commerce stuff was before then, but 2004 was the year MySpace launched.
Right.
If I remember correctly, and I was paying attention to Friendster, and I wanted to take my e-commerce stuff to a social level. And the term social media didn't exist yet, as far as I know. Right. At least it wasn't popular, and it definitely wasn't annoying.
Right.
And that's also around the time that one of my competitors hacked my site. And so I had to hire all these programmers to try to figure out how to fix my site. Now, before this, my business partner, I got really lucky. Have you guys ever heard of Box.net?
Docs.net? No.
No, Box.net.
Yeah. Oh, Box. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
The file sharing company. Yeah. So the VP of technology for Box is my first business partner.
Oh, wow. Box is huge. They're massive.
Oh, yeah. I know. And Aaron's such a great guy, and Sam's a great guy. But Sam and I weren't working together anymore because Sam and I both decided that he should work with Aaron because Aaron was doing like really cool stuff at the time, which later became what you guys know today. Okay. And Sam's interests were very much in technology, as you can tell. He's the VP of technology, and my interests were in sports. Gotcha. And he wasn't a sports person, right? Okay. So Sam left, and so I had like kind of freelancey programmers. Definitely, I mean, Sam is like a genius, so definitely nowhere near his caliber. And then my site got hacked, and Sam couldn't spend the time to help me, so he like guided me in the right direction. But eventually, I ended up finding another programmer who ended up becoming my new business partner, and he fixed it in like 24 hours.
That's cool.
All that time, MySpace became super popular and like happened really fast.
Okay.
So the term So by the time I wanted to build this like action sports social network,
Okay.
like social networking, it's like I had to take it like another step further.
Right.
During this time, I also wanted to, I just wanted to do everything that I could possibly do. So I saw YouTube. They were saved by these people called Sequoia. I didn't know who they were.
Right.
Do you know who Sequoia
Yeah, Sequoia.
is?
Yeah, the venture capital. Yeah.
Right. I didn't understand what venture capital was.
Right.
So I flew to San Francisco to meet with Sequoia.
Oh,
because
wow.
I was just that naive, and I was like,
hold on, hold on,
I want
hold
my
on. Let me
company
pause
to
here
be
for a second. So you got a meeting at Sequoia? You were actually meeting with these guys?
I got to meet with Sequoia.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really cool, right? So, but at the time,
Did they write you a check? Did they write you a check?
I got it. I chose an investor that was a strategic alliance as well. He owned the biggest action sports company.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's amazing. I actually was hanging out with someone from his team last night.
So what happened? What happened to this company?
You know, I wasn't the leader I needed to be to take the company to where I wanted to meet my vision.
Okay.
I just wasn't. And you know what? My investor would not say that. My investor multiple times has said that it was due to the economy. I think that's BS. Like, I think that I have absolutely everything that I need within myself to take
well,
any
hold on.
anywhere.
So, Espree, I'm going to ask you some very important questions here. So you had a product. You were going after the sports actions audience.
Extreme sports.
Your extreme sports audience with a lot of young guys, probably, right? And trying to get them on board. Did you actually have a site? Was there profiles? Did you get some sponsors? Like, how far did you get?
So, apologies. So when I met with Sequoia, I was in over my head. So I reached out to my friend that I grew up with, who was a successful watch dealer in Beverly Hills, and he knew like a lot of well-to-do people. Okay. And I said, I just met with these people, and it turns out it's a big deal. I didn't know, right? I don't know what to do. So he introduced me to this guy who was really familiar with the investment world. And that guy said, what you were doing is old news. What you need to do is you need to be the CNN of action sports. You need to be everywhere shooting everything. Okay. So he gave me the phone number of this woman who owned a modeling agency or something, I guess. I don't know what it was called. I didn't really know. I was so in over my head, but I was just a go-getter. So I call her up. So I leave this meeting. Within hours, I call her up. I set up a meeting to have a casting call for my media company that was just decided on this like meeting with this guy over lunch, you know? Okay. And so I have the casting call. I use my high school journalism background to set up 2 events at the same time. That's and cool. I have all my friends who are my team come with me. That's cool. To this casting call. I pick out the host. I hire a cameraman off of Craigslist. Okay. I really didn't know what I was doing.
That's
and
great.
It was a huge success. Go back to the original guy. I said, okay, now what? And he's like, I can't believe you actually did it. So I became a media company.
Okay. So then you started going to these extreme sporting events. You started shooting.
It was amazing. We shot Ryan Sheckler, Shaun White, Tony Hawk. We shot all the red carpets.
Very cool.
We traveled around the country.
Great. So you're doing all this video. Are you putting it up on YouTube? Are you hosting it yourself?
So YouTube was really new at the time. Okay. So what we would do is have relationships with all the brands to share the footage with them. And so it was about managing people in a timely way, sharing the footage in a timely way, like understanding how to integrate advertising and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay. So were you getting people coming to the site watching the videos, or were you just giving them the content and they would put it up on their sites?
I was doing a bit of both. Okay. I was playing around. I think I didn't really know.
How big was this company? Was this you and a couple of friends, or how large did you get this thing?
I don't know. It's all perspective, right? Like, everybody has a different opinion. I had, let's see, with my business partner included 6 teammates. Wow. And then a bunch of contract workers.
That's great. So how long did you get this ride? How long was this?
I don't know if that's big or small.
Oh, this is great. So what was that ride? How long did that ride last?
Since I started it to the end, somewhere around 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Like, honestly, for me, like, everything, this is kind of the unfortunate thing. Everything was about what was next. Yeah. So I was never present. So, like, it's really hard to have any kind of idea of times and stuff, which is why 2004, I kind of, like, center everything around 2004 because I remember a ton of decisions I made that year, you know? Right. But it's really difficult to remember times and like when things occurred.
Is this thing still going?
It's something I work on. No, Wait, it's something I work on now, like to be really present and to be part of the process. And when I meet someone else that like just acquired their first 100 customers, or they just raised money or something, I like shake them. I'm like, okay, stop. Like I didn't stop, and just like appreciate that this is awesome. Stop for a second. I really just didn't.
Right. So what happened with that company? I mean, did it fold? Did you sell it off to somebody else, or what happened?
No, it ran its course.
It ran its course.
It's ran its course.
Why did you leave, or what happened?
I didn't. I can't talk about it publicly.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. All right. So what are you working on now?
So I have I built. I don't remember how many companies. I built an internet marketing agency, that scuba diving accessory company, my action sports media company, and a couple other ones that I don't count.
How were you able to do all this?
Exactly. And I was.
Now I know why you can't remember the timelines exactly.
Yeah, because I started when I was a teenager, right? Okay. So the way I was able to be able to do this and build everything on a budget and all that stuff was because I became amazing at knowing how to use virtual assistants and outsource and use business software.
I love that. That part I love. I'm a huge fan of this virtual assistant stuff. Yeah.
Oh, totally, right?
So
I remember I was at South by Southwest a long time ago, and I was like in the press room, and I found this company called Shoebox. And at the time, I was having my assistant scan in all my business cards into my system, and it was taking so long. So I was having my team in India log into my computer to like fix all the scan errors, blah blah blah. And then I find Shoebox, and Shoebox costs $9 a month. You send them all their business cards, they scan it for you, and it's perfect. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm paying a lot more in time and money to scan business cards. This is awesome. And then I just developed this like amazing passion for business software. So now, like, SaveBusinessTime curates all the best business software. And in order for people like me, when I was younger, building up those companies to be able to get more done. So let's say, like Photoshop. I'm not a Photoshop master, but sometimes you need to, like, just put something on an image or something. So you could use a cool tool to get that done with instead of like having to learn Photoshop.
Yeah. So when I saw this on beta list, it really spoke to me. There's a ton of stuff
a lot to me. Yeah,
there's a ton of stuff on beta list, but when I saw that, I was like, this is a great idea. I mean, there's so many businesses that are starting, and they all probably need similar toolkits and similar sort of things, and they might not need a big, huge software program, just like one little tiny little program.
The beauty of the web right now is all these software as a service solutions, right, that are so cheap and easy to get started.
Yeah.
And so, Jeff, if you want to remind us, you worked on a little startup where you kind of assemble stuff. Why don't you tell us more about that?
It was the hackathon. I think it was the Silicon Beach Fest actually, where I joined a team with a few others.
I was there.
It was Cloud Hero.
I totally was there.
Yeah. Do you remember Cloud Hero? I think we took second or third. And the idea I thought was fabulous because it was targeted at everyone in the room, which was a sort of dashboard to aggregate the software as a service that you're using to bootstrap your startup.
Didn't you also work with a female from a college campus somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely, UCLA.
Yeah, she was really driven and really on point.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It attracted me to the team. The great idea. There was a female.
See, she was a fantastic
we had a cheerleader.
Entrepreneur. And is she still part of your team?
No, that project just lasted the weekend. But
oh, really? Why?
Yeah, that is a good question. Why, Jeff? Why? This sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, can we talk about that for a second?
Yes,
because,
let's talk about this. This is a very important, because these hackathons do spark something, but sometimes they die, and why is that?
So no, I'm really big into authenticity, and there's this like movement going on that frustrates me about the current state of startup development and where it was when I was younger. When I was younger, I risked every last penny I had, and that's one of the reasons why my investors invested in me. They're like, "Whoa, you really believe in yourself, so we believe in you too," you know? And now I feel like it's this hype thing where I'm going to go do this thing for a weekend because of the hype of it all, but I'm not going to take it that seriously, and then I'm going to go back to my life.
Really
but for that weekend, I want to be called an entrepreneur, and that frustrates me because I have like gold stars for being an entrepreneur. You know,
Right.
I have like red marks and green marks and all sorts of things. And I just think like, why do you get my same title that I worked so hard for by just attending something for a weekend?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, Jeff, let's hear it.
Yeah. In that case, it was a free event to attend, I believe, as opposed to the startup weekend. I think I did
Right.
like a month or two later. But yeah, I think unfortunately, my opinion of the hackathons is they're glorified networking events. You get attendees that are either developers, designers, you know, they sort of, you know, when you register, they put you in a bucket to make
Right.
sure that they have, you know, a ratio of people to go around. And,
Right.
you know, it's sort of a networking event where people, you know, maybe want to hack on an idea for a weekend or test their business model or idea.
Right.
But I think what you're saying is ringing true, that not enough people are following through and taking them, you know, afterwards. Actually, to my fault, I think the team did continue working on it.
Oh, okay.
Not like full time, but they did try to bring me in to keep me working on the project.
Oh, really? So
I
what
was-
happened, Jeff? How come you didn't
yeah, I was
continue?
unfortunately working on my own projects and kind of pursuing some other development at the time. But you know, they were actually continuing with the development.
Oh, that's cool.
At least in the business development first, probably. I think they were pushing. They were getting some response from the colleges.
Yeah.
So I forget which whether it was UCLA or USC right there, but they actually were interested in using that sort of product for
Right.
their incoming freshmen, to
Right,
sort of
right.
give them a dashboard of all the stuff that they were using.
But they don't
essentially
exist anymore.
no, essentially the product would have been like pulling in your Gmail, you know, pulling in all these web services with an API into one dashboard that you could kind of manage stuff with the team.
What happened to that girl?
Yeah, what happened to that girl?
I think you guys should interview that girl.
I think we should totally interview this girl.
I mean, I remember her, right? And it's a year ago.
Yeah, no,
Well,
she's
well,
really great.
okay.
I think I've been following her just on you know, Facebook, and I think she's graduated university finally. I remember her major was something like neuroscience. So she was trying to decide whether to go into, you know, science or to
Or
be an
startups.
entrepreneur. Yeah.
Wow.
Stay with science.
I figured I'd let her have the option to be a brain science, you know, surgeon or whatever.
Wow.
Wow.
She was dynamic. She was dynamic.
That's funny that you
Yeah,
remember her,
that's
Espree. Obviously, she was pretty well. You know, she was a female, so that alone separated her from the pack. But you're saying that she was pretty dynamic. That's pretty.
Because I really love women who embrace being strong, powerful women.
Okay.
And a lot of times there's these conversations amongst women on like how they're held back or whatever, and that's just frustrating. Like you're only held back if you allow yourself to be held back. And she's one of those women who is just doesn't allow herself to be held back. She
That's
like
awesome.
commands
Yeah.
things. You know?
Did you
I
get
really
that sense
admire
from
her?
Did you get that sense from her, Jeff? That she was pretty like
Yeah,
felt
she was
empowered.
she was totally confident, and it obviously helped the team
That's
dynamic
awesome
for sure.
And obviously, if she's pursuing science, that's another vote of confidence.
Yeah.
And programming. I mean, so
She's
why
not
don't
done.
we talk about this really briefly? Why do you think there aren't more women in programming?
I feel like I can't answer. I don't get it. Like, do you guys get it? I don't get it.
Maybe they just feel like
I don't
It's
think
not-
it's sexy at all.
maybe it's not sexy. Yeah, it's not a marketing. They're not like an agency or advertising or something.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't
Come on,
understand. why
you've
they-
got to have some women friends.
I'll give
gotta
you
have
my
some
point of
girlfriends.
view.
Yeah.
My point of view, real quick, from computer. I was in computer science in college,
Yeah.
and I vividly remember going into class, looking around the room of at least 200 people, and there were maybe 2 girls in the classroom, and I remember not being able to identify with like anyone in the room, and that being kind of a milestone for me deciding to drop out because I could not identify personally anymore with that.
Right.
Group of people going through the university, and devoid of all female influence almost,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as well as participation.
You've got to give me something, Espree. There's got to be
Me?
some. Yeah.
No, I think people should just do things. I don't understand.
Okay. Do you think
Like-
that do you think that when as they're growing up, perhaps women or girls are just not pushed into science and maybe technology?
But I wasn't pushed into anything. I chose.
Maybe that's not the
I
right
chose my
word.
life.
Uh,
I don't. You know. I don't know. I think that I think people need to stop making excuses for themselves. I was just talking to my old business partner an hour ago about all the things that I could improve upon. because I choose to be honest with myself, you know. So I'm like, I am disappointed with myself right now because this is where I need to be at, and this is what I'm doing. And the only reason that I'm not doing where I need to be at is because of me. And I think people have a hard time taking responsibility of their own lives. Wow. They do.
All right. So could we almost say that maybe there are some women that probably feel computer science is just too much for them to handle? Do you think that might be?
No.
No?
No. I think with female entrepreneurship, I think a lot of women are scared to take risks.
You know what? That's perfect. So as you know, the CEO of Facebook, she's really pushing for female entrepreneurship. She's the whole lean in with her book.
But remember, I don't think it should be about being a female. I don't. I think it should just. Do you want to be an entrepreneur? And I think
I know. I hear you.
I think that's great. I really appreciate that. I think that their message
I know, but come on, guys. There is clearly a dearth of females in technology and in leadership positions at some of these technology companies. And so we see, Facebook.
I mean, there are certain things that need to be different, like women. Like Madonna is a businesswoman. She's probably I don't know her at all, but she's probably extremely assertive on the borderline of being called a bitch. And maybe some women aren't comfortable carrying that.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I know that I've had to accept, and this has been difficult, that I know this sounds funny, that I'm a really nice person, that I like being a nice person. But you need an asshole. Therefore, I need to find assholes in my life. You know what I mean? In order to be my
I hear you. Yeah.
It's about really understanding who I am, my positives and my weaknesses and my strengths, and then finding the resources to complement that.
Right.
I think it shouldn't be about being a female or being a male. At least when I walk into a room, like I don't feel that it's about being a female or being a male. But I do think I get some open doors because I'm a female, and hey, I'll take it.
You'll take
it. You want to give me the open door?
Yeah.
Someone was telling me the story this week, and it was really interesting. They were talking about their friend who is a really seasoned programmer, and she gets asked to be a speaker because she's a female. And so she doesn't take a lot of them because she wants to be a speaker because she's an amazing programmer, not because she's a female. That's great. I get it. I respect that. But I still think she should walk through the door. She's being offered an opportunity.
She is a magical unicorn. We need to look at her.
It's like, I think that, potentially if I was a male, maybe you guys wouldn't be talking to me right now. Maybe not. I don't really care.
No. I thought your idea was really cool. I thought it was really cool.
Is, it doesn't even matter to me. Like I don't think you would talk to me only because I'm a female. And I don't know if you did or didn't. It doesn't even matter. But the point is, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I get asked on that it's she has a cool company and she's a female. We need that female spot, I'm like, sweet, take it.
That's hilarious. No, but I when I saw your tagline, what is it? Girl gets it done. I thought that was so great. I loved it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
It's funny. So one thing that I think is really important that I don't do, and I'm never going to do because it just doesn't fit me, but I think it's really important to define ourselves by some task, developer, designer, whatever. Because then you empower people around you to be able to hire you for things and to be able to become your customers because you're the go-to. So I'm a really resourceful person. That's my go-to. So the best way to describe that is the girl that gets it done. But people don't go oh, I need to hire a really resourceful person. So I'm kind of screwed on that. But I do like my tagline.
That's great. I love it. When I see get things done, I think to myself CEO. I think to myself leadership. That's the way I look at it.
My mom would probably agree with you, so that's good. I got a little, cheering squad going for me.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. All right. So let's segue into your product here. So talk to me about why you came up with this, or where you're at.
I want to be super transparent with this because most of the times entrepreneurs aren't, because we're taught that we have to look bigger than we are and all this stuff, right? And it's frustrating. I created SaveBusinessTime because I love business software. I also created SaveBusinessTime because I wanted a business that would match the lifestyle that I wanted. because the lifestyle I had before was like a severe workaholic where I would like sleep in my office and sleep in my car because I couldn't make it home. I was so tired. And that's not living. Like I didn't date for 10 years. I was like laser focused. So now I want to go to the beach with my girlfriends and play volleyball and be an entrepreneur. You know, I want to have the best of both worlds. And that's very taboo in the startup rule book to like have a life.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't have a life. You got to work 25 hours a day. You got to be on point.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally.
And if your teammates aren't pushing as hard as you are, then you need to kick their butts.
Totally, right?
Yeah.
So I really believe I've done it already. So like no one can like say, oh, you don't know about, I'm like, listen, I did it, so screw off, you know? And it's not, I would do it all over again, but it didn't lead me to feel fulfilled. Like there was one example, I'm going to backtrack for a second. It's been my dream to go to Australia. And I had a plane ticket to Australia. I go into my office. I tell my team I'm going to Australia. My whole team begged me not to go. You can't leave us. We don't know how we're going to function without you. I was crying. I was so burnt out. I needed to go to Australia. My business partner, you can't leave, right? I didn't go to Australia. I continued to get more and more burnt out. You know, I canceled the trip, and it's just not the life I want for myself anymore. So I created Save Business Time because I wanted to create a mutually beneficial relationship between what I want in my life and what I want to be able to offer people in their lives.
You know what? I'm gonna pause you right there. This is a really important point. I feel the same way. I oftentimes don't even leave my apartment. I'm working all the time. My wife complains to me that I'm just busy, and I don't have time for any personal life. Jeff, I know you've been in that boat. You know, being an internet entrepreneur, it feels like the lifestyle is supposed to be freeing, but I don't feel that way. No,
I heard the best thing, you guys. What is it? The entrepreneurial culture is the only like set of people that work 80 hours a week in order to avoid working 40 hours a week.
I know. Totally. I know, man. I've often thought I need to get a job so I can have a life again.
Totally, right? So I'm doing my best to create that, but in doing that, it's frustrating. This is what I'm up against. So as I mentioned before, I'm a really authenticity, you know how people have those different things on their like ranking list of what's important to them. So authenticity in others and in myself, that's why I'm consistently calling myself out. It's really important to me. So I wanted to create this relationship. I don't just want site traffic. I want relationships. Like I want every person that comes to my site. Like I feel bad. I know this is like it's just me. I was going to say it's going overkill, but it really is who I am. Like I feel like one person that comes to my site, if they don't like get what they were looking for, then I did them a disservice in some way. Like I take it personally, which I know like I probably need to tweak a bit in my like personality, but that's who I am. So I wanted to develop like relationships with everybody. And so first it started with like, I was like, well, okay, if people don't access the site like right away and I keep it up, like instead of just going wherever and seeing all the tools, then I could form relationships and really get to help people like what they need, because it is incredibly overwhelming if you just look at a page that has like a billion different tools and you're like, forget this. I don't know what's right for me. So I'm like, oh, I could help you because I know all the tools. So I could, what do you need? And then I could point you in the right direction, right?
Very, very cool. Very cool. So the problem you're solving is entrepreneurs are super busy. We're all overwhelmed. There's a lot of tools, and you're trying to curate a list of business tools for a startup that might need our entrepreneurs.
I mean, I've had this problem for a long time. If I go to like my iPhone and I want like a to-do app or something, like, as an entrepreneur too, you're like overflowing with ideas. A lot of them you need to cross off, or there's like brainstorming, and so I mean there
like,
are
which one's
a
the
zillion,
best? How do you use it?
Zillion to-do apps. Millions of them. Probably.
So which one? And also there's cool ways to use different ones that you could like,
connect them to other things and
multiply
and
you
the effects.
use Evernote in a certain way to do a certain thing that like one in my accountability group, one of the business owners I talked to, he uses Google Voice that has a number that goes straight to his virtual assistant, so he can just say, I need this, certain stuff like that. But but what I was going to say is, so I have these emails that go out, and not often, I've only sent a few, but they're like, they're so genuine. Like the intent, it's not even an intent. They just are genuine. But people have been so psychologically conditioned that they're being scammed or manipulated.
Right.
It doesn't matter if I am Mother Teresa. Like no one will believe me.
Right.
And that's what I'm dealing with right now. That's what frustrates me on a daily basis.
Okay.
That's what I'm like,
this is a huge topic because you're talking about scale versus authenticity or one-to-one. A lot of times, a lot of businesses, a lot of internet entrepreneurs are trying to find scale. How do I talk to several hundred, several thousand? You know, how do I be more efficient? And what you're talking about sounds to me. Yeah, well, you're sounding like a one-to-one thing, and that's really hard to scale. And
and I don't want to be like a one. I do want to be one. I want to be as one-to-one as possible. I want to build a business that scales. I'm not looking to be a consultant. Like that's not the business model to be a consultant. Okay. But I really want people to be supported. And in the beginning, there's no reason why I can't have one-to-one relationships. You know what I mean? And plus, I have my virtual team that is amazing. So like maybe they can be there, so if it's too many people for just me or whatever. But the thing that I'm up against is like that authenticity thing that like it doesn't matter like how authentic I am. It's like there's so much crap out there that people just don't believe it. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. And I'm not a designer, right? And I don't want to go out and hire the most amazing UI designer because I don't think that's the best use of money or the best use of time. Okay. So I don't think the site visually is where it needs to be whatsoever. And so I'm combating like how can I express this authenticity, credibility, and trust without having the most incredible design in the world as a new startup. I'm trying to make all these decisions different than how I made them in the past and have a slower but more connected growth. But it's really frustrating, you guys. It's like it hasn't been like kumbaya, it hasn't.
That's good. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear the frustration.
Or like I remember I got like my first unsubscribe on the email list. Like the first, right? This is so ridiculous of me, but it's true. I freaked out. I go to my Facebook, I'm like, someone unsubscribed. I don't know what I did to hurt them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to send anyone an email that bothers anyone, So I'm I'm a little bit too heartfelt.
Honestly, Espree, you're talking. This is a really important point. We had a guy on from At the Pool. Have you heard of these guys?
Alex, he's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love Alex.
We had him on. I think last week.
So Alex is on my thing tomorrow, my panel.
Oh, is that right?
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm moderating that panel. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So we had him on, and based on what he was telling us, and based on what I gathered, I'm assuming he's sending out several hundred of these emails that are connecting people a day, probably several thousand.
Yeah.
Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe up to 10,000 a day. I don't know, but the point is that in order to have that kind of hockey stick growth that these investors look for in startups, you kind of need to kind of get yourself out of it. There's no way you can have a virtual team. There's no way you can do one-on-one. It has to be almost robotic. It has to be like this
so that's the
machine,
though. There's all different types of companies, and I've been blessed enough now to have the experience to understand this. So there's the company that needs the VC money, and so the VCs determine what the company needs to do, not the customer. Okay. Then there's the kind of company that I'm building where I actually don't want investors. I want to have a very Jason Fried company. Wow, like great. Jason, like I don't know if you've seen the FAQ page, but like I was like, you know what, my company mission statements can't get any better than Jason Fried, so I'm just gonna steal his. So cool. So I have a screenshot of the 37 signals, like mission statements or whatever philosophies.
That's awesome.
And
and they've built a very big business. Basecamp, they're making several million a month. From what I've read.
I mean, but he builds his company in a very authentic manner, and it scales. I just
okay. All right. So
when you mentioned working 80 hours a week, I was going to say those guys specifically say you don't have to do that to build a startup. They
value
contrary to the popular
having a life.
And in the interest of being transparent and authentic. Right before you came on, Jeff and I had a very difficult conversation where we were talking about the struggles that we're having, and I want to try scaling, and Jeff's concerned about quality. Growing too fast and being inauthentic, and why are we going that fast, and maybe we shouldn't be doing as many interviews and connecting with people and this and that, and these are things that startups struggle with, and I'm glad we're talking about that. I honestly, I don't know what to do next. I'm gonna have to think about it. But
Right.
part of me, honestly, a big part of me loves this authentic thing. But it feels like in order to have an impact in this very busy, very fragmented lifestyle that everybody's living, you kind of need to grow big and you kind of need to hit as many people. But maybe I'm wrong.
I'm a huge proponent of quality over quantity. The guy we talked to yesterday, and we'll remember, he said that on the registration emails that they're sending out through their website, he's replying to them instead of sending them out from a they're not sending them from a no reply. They're asking for a reply. They're very personal. And he says they're getting like 30 replies to the welcome email every day. I mean, I don't know about you, but I haven't read a welcome email in 5 years. Those are immediate.
That's right.
I'm so programmed on the website sending me emails. Anything from Twitter is an immediate delete. So it's nice to see people flipping the coin and going back to the personal one-on-one relationship.
I will say this, though, about right and wrong. If there's anything that I've taught myself over the years, it's important for us entrepreneurs to create our own story. There is no right and wrong. It's really understanding who we are as an individual, and then scaling our personality to match what our company is. So for you, if you want to scale, because that's who you are and that's what you want to do. There's where the disconnect is that because you guys are partners, you have to compromise on your what's it called? Is it the right word? You guys have to meet each other halfway.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Right. So for me, if I'm like a happy-go-lucky hippie capitalist, I need to speak to that.
Right.
If I'm a person that likes to automate systems, and I need to just to have our own story.
Gotcha. And be true to yourself, it sounds like what you're saying. Be true to yourself, right? Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard and frustrating.
It is hard. It is hard.
Which is why I value Beta List so much. Okay. How he wrote me back right away, and how he really cared, and how he got things done fast, and I paid the expedite, and he got it done sooner, and his emails were really friendly, and it's just.
Well, let's talk about this, just the authenticity bit. So you're saying you feel really authentic when a person responds quickly and it feels very personalized to you in their email. Is that right?
Right, which is funny because I don't want for anyone to having to be sitting by their computer all day long.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now we expect an email within 30 seconds. I do have to admit that if I get an email back within 30 seconds, I feel, but it's that balance. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, I want to make sure there's someone on my team that can respond within 30 seconds, not necessarily that I'm sitting at the computer.
Now, is it fair to say that email that you felt warm and authentic to you could have been pretty cut and paste templated with maybe a couple of words? It wasn't.
No, it was from him. It was for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And we wrote a couple times now because about a week ago I wrote him how much I appreciate it, and he wrote me back right away that that really means a lot to me, blah, blah, blah.
It's funny. I was just re-listening to that interview with the at the pool Alec, and he talked about how he made a mistake and he sent out a mass email to his whole user base past Thanksgiving, and said Happy Thanksgiving, but there was already Christmas time or something. And he got a huge response out of that mistake because people were like, "What? It's not Thanksgiving, bro. It's winter time." Yeah. And it's weird, sometimes it's really tricky. Even you can almost scale in authentic messages in a way. You can almost make these kind of silly mistakes, and it can almost feel authentic by making a mistake, or.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I mean, I think for me, more the issue isn't about the organizer, the person behind it being authentic. It's we are what we are. For me, the headache is that people are so conditioned to think everything's so inauthentic. It's what do I need to do and not be some. I don't want to try to be authentic. I just want to be myself, right? So what do I do that's natural to show you without thing, And so I'm things do I not have the landing page that I have? Do I make phone calls? Do I have physical get-togethers? I was doing a focus group yesterday, and this woman wanted to create some online community, and I asked everybody in attendance if you could have the online community where we are sitting right now, or a phone call, which one would you choose? And each one went around, and I did one at a time, so I didn't ask the 3 options. I first said, do you want the online? Did it why or why not?
Right.
Everyone said the physical. Imagine, you can never scale that.
Right.
So
right. Yeah.
everyone hands down was like, I don't want any of that other stuff. I just want the physical. So that made me think, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing? Like, I should just have physical things.
I have to tell you, Espree, I had no idea this conversation would go this way, but this is such a huge topic. This issue of inauthenticity, authenticity, the fact that everybody's so busy, and
it's
how
what everyone's fighting for, right? In the Facebook feed and the Twitter feeds, trying to quickly prove that you're authentic enough, that you're worth the click, right? Trying to win people over.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you guys, someone said, like, about my site, they were like, they didn't know me, and they said, because you have this tab, I don't remember what word they used, but your site seems shady or something. And I wrote back that I really appreciate your opinion, because I do. That's one thing I got really good at when I was younger, is like, a hater's not really a hater. It's like awesome constructive criticism, right? Like, I really appreciate the that you telling me that. I nor my site is anything shady. Not everybody thinks that, but I'm glad to know that you do. And, you know, it's like, man, like, I need to change the design just because I'm not a good designer. Like, perception that something shady, you know what I mean? It's just, it's so difficult as a startup before you have your brand out there and everyone knows it and trusts it to communicate that message. It's so hard.
Right. Wow. So have you
frozen?
Yeah. Well, there you go. You're back again. So have you, in your opinion, have you seen any startups, LA or wherever? Have you seen anybody besides, of course, 37 Signals do this really well?
Oh, that's a great question.
Being authentic, having landing pages, having the UI, having little pop-up alerts or whatever messaging on the site as you're using the user flow to feel authentic. Like, I noticed.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's hear it.
Fancy Hands.
What's it called?
It's an outsourcing service. Fancy Hands.
Fancy Hands. Oh, pull that up, Jeff. Pull that up.
So Fancy Hands has the most phenomenal customer service because every time I tweet them, they tweet me back something super funny. So they use a lot of humor.
Fancy Hands, assistance for everyone. Okay, you have plenty to do. That's right, we do have plenty to do.
So Fancy Hands has had fantastic customer relationships. Founders Card has phenomenal. Now Founders Card has come a long way.
What's it called? Founders Card?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Founders Card, you get exclusive events and discounts to a lot of cool stuff. I get, like, I have a Fancy Hands discount.
So let's break this down, because of course I want to analyze this for our audience.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, what was it about Fancy Hands or Founders?
Hands.
What was it about these guys? What spoke to you?
For Fancy Hands, it was their Twitter communication.
Okay.
That I would tweet them and they'd tweet me back something humorous.
Got you smile.
I actually wrote an article about this. I'm a writer for TechZulu. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
So there's an article I wrote. I could send you guys the link later about like the customer service between productpeople.tv.
Do
you guys know it?
TV. No, Jeff is a huge product guy.
Oh my God, Jeff, you will like this. Will be your
Jeff. You need to. You know what? I honestly think this is like, I don't think enough people talk about this. This human voice, this human authenticity in this age of startups and scale. I just feel like
you guys will love Product People. So Product People, amazing. Yeah, and so I included this all in an article I wrote. It's just So with Fancy Hands, it was their Twitter communication. With Product People, it was they helped me with. I wanted to sponsor one of their episodes, and they helped me figure out the sponsor messaging.
Okay, and when you say they helped you, what was it about the way they did? Was it the way they did it? How they?
It was they emailed me right away, and they were happy to help.
And
they really cared. It's a care. It's like what I was telling you. It's like you could tell the difference between a company that's trying to capitalize off of something, some sort of movement, and or a market versus founders that genuinely care,
Okay,
and I think that filters through.
Okay, now don't get me wrong, and you know it may come off as wrong, but you know everybody's looking to make money. I mean, I know they're caring and they want to like you know be your friend and stuff, but at the end of the day, you know you know you got to make money. So I
Not
mean,
everybody. Like when I built my sports company, I wasn't building my sports company to make a quick buck. I was building my sports
okay, all right.
company
So
because
maybe that's the right way to say
loved
it. So maybe you're looking to make a not a quick buck, but a slow buck. But ultimately, you're still looking to make a buck.
No, it wasn't my drive. I mean, obviously, I wanted my company to be successful financially, but like my drive wasn't like I had like huge visions. Like I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but I like have always believed I'll be a billionaire one day. Like it's not that I don't have like financial desires, but it's not what drives me at all. Like if you offered me $1 billion, if you said, if you stay on this Google, oh, I don't mind it, so that's different. But like, let's say if you have to do biochemistry for 1 year, and if you do it for 1 year, I'll give you $1 billion. I wouldn't do it because I have zero interest in biochemistry.
How important do you think that was?
I don't even know if biochemistry is a thing. Is it a thing?
It might be. I don't know.
Maybe. How important do you think that was to your starting a company or your extreme sports?
I think I would have never raised money, ever. I think Sequoia would have never taken the time with me. I don't think I would have even gone to Sequoia because, like, I wouldn't have had that kind of heart and fuel and drive. I don't. My team would have definitely never worked on a budget. My team wouldn't have worked ridiculous hours, sometimes not eating because they were so passionate about my vision.
Right.
My business partner would have never been my business partner.
Right. Yeah.
Sam
you're
would
right.
have definitely not worked with me.
Yeah, you're
About
absolutely
just
right.
about everything.
So you're saying these connections and relationships, they're able to determine your intentions were for
just like
your passion and not for
just
the money.
like I feel really good about beta list.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel good about product people, and I feel good about Fancy Hands. It's that thing that makes me want to tell everybody else about all these companies.
Yeah.
Not because, I mean, yeah, their services are great, but you guys, I use a ton of outsourcing services.
Right.
More than just Fancy Hands.
Right. Right.
Right, but I'm talking about Fancy Hands right now.
Okay.
It's not to say the other ones are bad. It's just
but Fancy Hands broke through. They got that mind share with you. Yeah. So all right. So I'm gonna dig into this one. So Fancy Hands responded really quick to you, and when they did respond, they were kind of funny, and they're like, these people are humans. They're like no robots back there.
Yeah. Right.
This is like a
I'm
human
excited
being.
you even saying that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm all about robots, so that's fine. We can have some humans back there too. That's all right.
You know, or like I go, the grocery store, the Co-op. I don't know if you've been to it, but like I go.
Is
to
that the one
Co-op.
in Venice? Co-op.
It's in Santa Monica.
Santa Monica. I don't think.
Anyway,
I've been there. No.
it's like I totally want to say something. So I go into the Co-op and everybody, knows happy to see me, and it makes me want to go to the Co-op, not just for the food. It's because they like me, and everybody wants to be liked.
Everybody knows your name. It's like the Cheers intro.
Right.
Yeah.
And if there's anything I'm learning more and more now, I didn't even understand this then.
Yeah.
People don't buy products and services; they buy experiences.
Yeah.
And I haven't figured out yet what kind of experience I want and can make happen for people associated with Save Business Time.
Okay.
But I'm determined to figure out what that experience is.
Wow.
Because, like,
this is great.
I want to create that. If I'm going to have
it's great. It's great. Espree, I'm telling you, I think you're right on the money on this one. Jeff, I don't know about you, but she's right on the money.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, so what you're saying is right now, if we look at Save Business Time,
let's take a look at it.
Page.
So we got a video of
you. So you're using a video narrative to talk to us and try to.
And the video is like the reason. So I have a few videos that I made, and like I have an animated video that I particularly think is really cool. I have a parkour video, which is one of my favorite because it's like action sports.
What do you mean hardcore?
Yeah.
Parkour. Parkour, the jumping,
gotcha.
the jumping thing, yeah. I have another video, right? I chose to go with the video of me talking because I want to show people like I'm real. Like, can you see that like I'm genuine? Like, I hope so. Here I am. Like,
Right.
you know.
So what I wanted to connect the dots with though is that you're saying that I think so what's behind the scenes here? Is the product built? Do you know what the product is, or what you're telling me is you're kind of you're trying to listen to people and evolve that?
Yes,
right?
I'm definitely trying to listen to people involved. So the original product, if you could call it that, is like a curated site of the absolute best business software to help startups get things done, right?
Okay.
But as I'm trying to understand the experience, it's not really about business software because business software in itself is overwhelming. It's just like, what we talked about earlier. It's really about how do I create the lifestyle I want? And the lifestyle also involves, you know, virtual assistants and outsourcing and stuff.
How do you
so now I'm thinking, like, I've been putting together, and I've been doing a lot of surveys in the past couple weeks. I'm putting together a paid forum for learning how to go from zero to hero outsourcing.
I love that. That's a great idea.
And specifically for startups, because I mean, there's different people that are outsourcing experts. Like, there's this internet marketer named John Reese. He's an I don't know if you guys know.
John Reese.
Outsource Force or whatever. It's like a $2,000 product. There's Replace Myself, which is also like an
that's
internet
the guy.
marketing
That's who got me started.
Right, but there's nobody in the startup space.
Yeah, that's doing that.
Like,
it's always in the internet marketing space, but not in the startup space.
Right. So I'm thinking like, or it's in enterprise, like, you know, enterprise. But you don't think of it like, how do I just as like a solopreneur or whatever, you know, super small, like a team of like 5 or under, right?
Exactly.
Have like these what does that even mean to outsource? And like, is the word, like right now, the surveys I've been doing this week, I ask people, what does outsourcing make you think of? What does virtual, I mean, not sorry, but I use virtual too. What does virtual make you think of? What does the word remote make you think of? And I get the most interesting responses. But it's like, maybe that should be a component of Save Business Time. Like, I'm trying to figure that kind of stuff out.
Very cool.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's great.
No, I have to tell you, I've been doing outsourcing for the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm trying to get Jeff on board. And Jeff's most of the time hesitant because he connects that with low cost, with low quality, low commitment.
Interesting.
And the truth is, there is some of that. There is some of that.
Yeah, there is, but it's all about hiring right.
Yeah, and honestly, I ended up losing a fair amount of money figuring it out, and now that I've known,
and that's why you would use my outsourcing forum.
And I would say also the approach of a startup trying to outsource stuff, or the difficulty is like, how do I break up the tasks? What tasks do I give them? That sort of thing. And
I can teach people how to do all of that. I do all of that, so that's easy. For me, the hard part is like, how much do I charge people amount? How much will they easily pay? Which word do I use? Like outsourcing, virtual, like remote, like that's everything else is cake for me.
All right. Well, let's talk about Save Business Time. So what's the next step here for you? Are you gonna start putting up some landing pages? Are you gonna use some like Unbounce and start coming up with some ideas?
I have Unbounce. So I don't like. I've been trying to figure out. So I know I'm going to be creating a lot of videos. Okay. I'm going to be working a lot on SEO stuff. Good. I may take down the landing page. I'm just not sure, because for me, taking down the landing page means I'm not making those relationships. So, but then again, if people who are receiving emails are so conditioned to think any email is BS, then like that's a waste of time anyway. You know. So, not to say that building an email list isn't smart. I mean, if you guys are familiar with the internet marketing world, an email list is gold.
Yeah,
you know?
That's what they talk about all the time.
Email is where the money is. Yeah. But again, I'm not driven by money. I want to build a community where we all like, we're like, you come and we're like, yeah, dude, I'm a part of this thing.
Can I share something then with you, Espree?
Yeah.
I honestly think that Google Hangout is such an amazing enabler. If you can get groups of people on Google Hangouts, do them at 9 or 10 at a time, it's an amazing way.
Oh, you're cutting out. I can't hear you.
Do like 9 or 10 at a time.
Hello?
Like
you froze.
Yeah. Hello. Am I here?
Hello.
Hold on one second. We'll maybe wait till she unfreezes.
I'm still here.
Hello.
Still here. Yep. Frozen too. Jeff, is she frozen for you?
Yeah. Sometimes the band.
Hello.
Oh, there we go.
Are you
There you
Are you back?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You left off on if you could get 9 or 10 Google Hangouts, and I didn't hear anything
Yeah.
else.
I think Google Hangout limits you to about 9 to 10 participants.
I love how you were talking about that just as it froze. By the way.
I know. I know. Such a great idea, Mole.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when it does work, it's pretty. I found it to be such an amazing way of connecting with people. And
No, that's a great idea. One of the reasons I stay away from Google Hangout is I myself.
Gosh, I guess that's a good reason.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Oh, there you
Right
go.
when you say that, it kicked you out.
Oh, your audio's out.
Are we back?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Here, let me just grab my charger real quick. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe the Wi-Fi connection is
Wow. Well, Jeff, this interview took a different turn.
yeah.
Which is great.
Sorry about that, guys.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, one of the reasons I stay away from Google Hangout is because I don't really feel comfortable on video, funny enough.
Okay.
Like, I was like, oh no, I have to be on. Like, I didn't put on makeup for you guys. Sorry.
No, you're
You don't like it today. I just want to kind of
Yeah.
be myself.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you
No,
look
we
great.
prefer it that way on this
Yeah.
show. We just come as we are.
Yeah.
But we
I
do also
put-
publish the show as audio MP3 into iTunes.
Do you?
Yeah, for that audience. I think, the thing that I've found with the Google Hangouts, we're using Skype early on, but, it's got all its problems and you can't really rely on it. And, this has had a couple problems here with the connection during the show, but for the most
haven't
part,
noticed.
yeah. For the most part, though, it's pretty easy to jump in as long as you have a Google account. And most people have webcams and a microphone. And, if they're able to jump on, it's really a frictionless way to produce something quickly.
Yeah.
Like with the screen sharing, no software and extra stuff. And then on the other end, we're actually publishing it on air live to YouTube. So we're sort of studying all of the media and how it all connects. But they're actually recording and publishing it to YouTube for us, at least as like a backup. We'd like to go and put our logo on it and stuff afterwards.
That's
but
really cool.
but for a lot of people that don't want to have to spend 8 hours rendering the thing afterwards, they can just hit, it's just done. It's really hands-free, no software, no rendering.
And
so
beyond
it really raises the, lowers the bar for people, makes it a lot more accessible.
And beyond the technology, Espree, I found it to be immensely helpful because I've gotten to know you. I feel like I kind of know you a little bit now. And,
that is true. That I feel like it brings up more of that human element,
Yeah,
like that.
human element.
I mean, I should say physical. As physical as we could get. Video is definitely more intimate.
And honestly, from an authenticity standpoint, this is where I work. This is what I look like. There's no inauthenticity at all. This is for real.
Yeah.
So
So I want to ask Jeff actually, since you have a hang up with outsourcing, did an outsourcing forum, is that something that would be interesting? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm asking Jeff, but I'm kind of asking both of you. Outsourcing forum for startups, do you like it? Do you not like it? And how much do you think is a fair but quality price to pay per month?
A forum where people are having Q&A type stuff?
Yeah. And I would probably
totally
have these Google knowing me with my hippie capitalist, I would do as much as possible to make sure everybody got absolutely every kind of interaction they needed.
Yeah, no, I think that would be really helpful. The way I imagine this problem set for me, as the customer or as the startup entrepreneur or whatever, is that it's going to be Q&A based. There's going to be very pointed, frequently asked questions. So I think it would be very helpful. Hey, how do I break down the questions, or which site should I go to? Should I go to Odesk or five of the other options? Or there's going to be frequently asked roadblocks for people, and I think or how do I track their time? How do I hold them accountable? Whatever the common things are, I think would be really empowering for people that like you're saying, the startups who have hangups. I think they're going to have specific hangups that if you can answer, with a document or a resource like that, I think would get them over those issues and more likely to try it. Because the other thing with the startups is it's the expense of their time.
But you specifically, because
let's talk about you. That's good. That's good.
Because I just want to know, this is one thing startups do is they ask people for feedback, and most of the time people give you like what they think the rest of the world. They don't give you their their own feedback.
Blow smoke up your butt. In other words, right.
Yeah.
So for me, actually, a big part of it, I come from the developer skill set, at least in the programming, and so a lot of that stuff I wouldn't be as comfortable outsourcing at all.
Right.
Or it would be much more difficult. I'd be looking for someone more to join the team as like a partner.
Right.
Like like a virtual team member, more than outsourcing like an hourly function. Unless I was building on WordPress or something where I was just like, hey, I want you to go add a link here or something like that. If you're developing a technical asset, it's going to be a lot harder to outsource reliably and without the risk. I think you're basically talking about the intellectual property of some of the technical stuff, and just the coordination and the fear of that, having to open that up to that, someone else that's not really a part of your team is frightening. But for a lot of the business development, marketing, and other tasks, I think people just or startups or myself don't think about it. Don't think what they could be doing for you.
And what do you guys think is a fair price per month?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What do you guys currently pay on something? I know I pay $100 to go work out.
I've been hiring folks from the Philippines. For me, when I look for somebody virtually, I've been basically using, especially I have a few rules. Like you mentioned earlier, replace myself. That guy, he got me started on this. And
does he have a paid thing?
No. He had his own site. I think it was called Best Jobs something.
.ph.
I was using that for a while, then I stopped that. But my first few people that I hired was through that, and I was having them manage my LinkedIn stuff, and I was having them help me connect with more people on LinkedIn. I was having them do some go after a certain vertical, build a spreadsheet for me, and all that kind of thing.
Right.
I'm having them do that for us now. I'm trying to find somebody to help us do scheduling and do the coordination, setting somebody like yourself up for us.
Yeah.
I'm having a little bit of a hard time because Jeff and I, me specifically, I have very high levels of quality control, and I want to make sure that when we reach out to folks that the email seems real and not cut and paste, even though 80% of it will be cut and paste, but I do want that 1 or 2 lines or 5 lines out of that email to be for real.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to find a way to scale that, and it's kind of hard, but I haven't given up on it yet. I've been doing it right now manually. I've been doing that by myself. I was the one who emailed you, I was the one who found you on Beta List, and
Yay!
And I was like, wow, it's a female doing a startup. I got to get her on the show.
Well, so how do you get startups to think about outsourcing?
But the price, what do you think is a fair price for the startup?
I don't. It depends. I
think what they say about startups, they're all broke.
Yeah, they're all broke. I think honestly, if it was more than $300-400, I think for us it wouldn't work. For me personally, I can say the sweet spot is in $200 to $300.
Like a forever thing.
For a monthly thing, or monthly set of hours or tasks or something. Yeah.
Oh no, sorry.
Okay.
It's not deliverables. It's just I need to work on communication.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so you're talking about the training.
The training, or even the sourcing the contractors, finding the person for you to do the scheduling.
Wow. Okay, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Is it $100 a month, or is that high?
You know what? Yeah, $100 seems reasonable. Maybe try it. I don't know. God, I don't know. That's a tough one. That's really hard.
If it reduces the risk, it'd be worth the value, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I know that it's worth the value. That's a matter of me learning.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I talk to many people, and they're just
me communicating it is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Because you're not the first person to think I'm talking about a service, to do it for you, and I'm like, no, that's not what I mean.
Right. God, that's a really tough one. I think $100, maybe $50, $49.95. Just try me out for the first month, and I will find you an awesome virtual team, and then I'll handle them.
Oh
Maybe
no, I don't handle them.
Okay,
So,
maybe not. Okay,
So,
$50 just to source them. All right.
I need to figure out. No, it's like it's really $50 to learn. Like you know what you were saying, like all the stuff
Oh,
that
you're
you
just gonna train them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got
train
you.
how to assign tasks,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
to
yeah,
find
yeah.
people, how to know
Okay,
what to
well,
assign
in that
who,
case,
how to scale it.
in my honest opinion, I think it should
Yeah.
be a downloadable product. It should be like a video series with a little bit of like once a week.
It won't help people. You know why?
Okay.
Because people have like active questions
Yeah.
all the time. Like, so
Yeah.
people call me pretty much on a daily basis asking me how to outsource
Oh, really?
all the time. It drives me crazy.
So
And
so you sell them a book and they're going to email you anyways.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I have a book. It's outsourcingcheatsheet.net. Like
Okay.
people
Yeah.
buy my book all the time. But
Right.
the problem is you have like live active questions.
Yeah, yeah. No,
that
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's funny.
wanna-
I'd pay $20 a month for a membership to a discussion community.
There you go. There you go. I think that
around easy.
I think he nailed it. It doesn't sound like a lot of money, but if you can get enough people going, I think it would totally worth it. I
Maybe more, yeah.
It's funny. I want to tell you the story really briefly. I was contacted by this photographer who runs these workshops here in LA, shooting models and stuff, and guys that want to shoot models or whatever. And I remember giving a talk to them, and I talked to them about the VAs, and everybody perked up. They got all excited about virtual outsourcing. And I was just like, okay, and they wanted me to talk about that for like 45 minutes, and they were just surprised I have 2 or 3 VAs working for me and this and that. And I honestly believe it's a huge market. I think there's a lot of people would love to get it
And
going.
people think it's expensive. I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing this. If you don't, just say you can't. But how much do you pay a month in general for your whole outsource team?
You know, I don't feel comfortable sharing that now.
Okay. So I feel comfortable sharing mine.
Let's hear
Mine tops out at about $500 a month on a high month.
Wow.
And I have multiple people working with
That's
me.
great. That's great.
Yeah, it's
Right?
Yeah, but
It's
you know what? You know what? Yeah. That's a very reasonable budget.
like
Yeah,
how much
absolutely.
normally do you pay one assistant in the States
Yeah.
to do things like it's a $30,000 a year salary at the low
For me,
end?
I've noticed that instead of hiring full time, I just hire part time. I found part timers tend to be better, because
It's all I think it's all like dependent.
yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the task and the person.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me that's that's worked for me. I usually
Like
Go ahead.
I have different services I use for different things, and then a combination of the services that I use to maximize the efforts of different things. And like somebody, like a lot of people will be like, how do you outsource? It's like, okay, like you don't answer that or where do I go to outsource? No, because like maybe you'll use Odesk for one thing, but Elance for something else, and maybe you'll use Tweaky for something, and maybe you'll use Zertial for something else, and Fancy Hands for something else, and you know, Guru for something else. And there's this very specific thing to use TaskUs for, and TaskRabbit. And I just learned a new one this morning, Pinwheel or something. Have you heard of this one?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of these popping up. This whole virtual people that'll handle stuff for you. This is a big deal now.
Pinhead, Pinwheel. I'm looking it up right now, but.
Yeah, no, this is a pretty hot area. This
Pin done.
Pin
Write
done.
that down. Yeah, look cool. It's like what? How do I not know
this is a big area. I think this is going to be a lot of people, not just people around the world, but even locally, even here. Like if you want to hire a massage or not a massage, maybe a therapist or maybe somebody to help you with your fitness, you can hire them here in the States. Obviously, it'll be a lot more, but.
Totally.
We've been covering technologies that support it too, right? Like WebRTC, providing video and voice chat through websites instead of going through Skype and other things is helping a lot of these experts sell their services online.
Well, you know, honestly, Espree, I really hope you come out with this. I think there's a huge market for it. You may want to start at the $20 a month.
No, if I started, I would start it in the next 2 weeks. Like I just want to make sure it's something that people want to pay for. So I'll probably just be emailing a lot of people and see if they like. Are they just trying to ask me questions every day, like for free? I'll comp out, or like do they really want real help and to really grow a team? And I want to make it at a price. Listen, I mean, you guys know this really well. If you can't afford even like $50 a month to hire a virtual assistant, then there's no point in learning how to do
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
So I want to make it
yeah.
a price point that validates that you're comfortable. If you're comfortable spending X amount for the paid form, it means
Right.
you also have the money set aside to hire the team.
No, absolutely. That's a very
And
good
it starts as low as $50 a month, but
Yeah.
still, for some people,
Yeah,
it's they're not there yet.
They're not comfortable with that. Yep, absolutely. No, I completely agree with you. But I can attest it's worked wonders. I love it. I mean, it's like one of those secret things that I'm so glad I've been through that. It's amazing. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I love outsourcing too. And I have the most amazing team. Do you know my team has been with me since like for years? So let's see. Like I think like 7 or 8 years or more.
Wow. It's a long time.
Not all of them, but a lot of them. Like my team in India, they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
It's so great,
team
right?
in the Philippines, amazing.
Yeah.
I have a team in the Philippines, India, Ukraine, Canada. I have my main assistant is in New York.
That's awesome.
And then I have scattered assistants across the U.S. Via Fancy Hands.
Yeah, I have to tell you, this is the superpower of our age, and Tim Ferriss talks about it in his 4-hour work week, and it's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely
it's fantastic.
Well, real quick, one of the challenging things I also see with using the outsource effort is how do you then coincide that with these one-on-one relationships? Like, how do you
I don't
know what
outsource
tasks
my. I don't really like.
How do you teach startups to do that?
Relationships. So I have a lot of stuff. Like my main assistant, she really gets my personality, and she has a similar personality. So like, I want her to build relationships as well. But my team, for the most part, like when I have them do stuff, it's more like the administrative stuff or the stuff that just needs to get done to move forward.
Right.
But with relationship building, like I actually really like enjoy that part of it. So I want to make sure everything else is super systematized so I can have the time to spend it on the relationships and stuff like that.
Right. So I'm going to quickly segue into the LA scene. So what do you think of the LA scene, where it's going? And
I may have like assistants research or maybe like use RowFeeder or whatever to find different relationships I'd like to build, but then I'll build the relationships. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's hard, and we're talking about startups trying to decide how to use outsourcing and whatnot as well. Sometimes you have to be tactical about the way to
do it. No, totally. And that's the thing, is that people just don't get. They don't get like if you say outsourcing, they think India. I found out if you say virtual, they think Siri. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow.
Like, I never knew that. Anyway, what do I think of the LA scene?
Yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts? I mean, it's been growing now. We've got a fair amount of incubators. Uh-oh, what's wrong? You're running out of power?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there it goes. I must have a switch in my house that needs to because I don't like to do these in the office because people like knock on my door. Okay. And so this is like my chair in my house by my fireplace.
No worries.
So the Silicon Beach Fest is going on. And tell us what you think about the
real
LA
quick, by the way,
scene.
I know you're in your house. Both of you are in your house.
Yeah.
I actually like having an office. I like having a place to go. Now, sometimes I do find, more often than not, that I get stuck at my kitchen table because I get so excited and then I'm there all day.
Right.
I hate that I do that because I have an office and all I need to do is walk
over
blocks,
there. Yeah, and go over there.
2 blocks to my
Right.
But I think it's really important to have an office. I find that I'm way more productive when I'm in the office. I usually stand at my desk. It's like, it's great.
Interesting.
Anyway, I just know that a lot of people think, oh yeah, home.
No, you're right. And some people, separation is a big deal. Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing.
The LA scene, I think it's really interesting. I think it's a lot of curious people. I would like it to be a bit more finessed. There's an organization called LA Tech Happy Hour. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
By the way, do you guys know that I co-founded? I don't know to call it co-founded. I essentially founded, whatever you call it. It doesn't matter. It's a community project called wearelatech.com.
Oh, no.
Okay.
So it has a calendar of all the LA Tech events.
Okay.
It's pretty awesome. And then we're producing a series called We Are LA Tech featuring startups, investors, and YouTubers.
Very cool.
So the trailer's on the homepage at the bottom.
Okay.
what I think is there's a lot of curious people trying to see, but I would love there to be like an aggregated place that is like really finessed with like development talent, engineers, like just really people who actually want to build the real businesses, not just like Curious George. And so I feel like this organization called LA Tech Happy Hour attracts that core.
Okay.
I may be wrong.
You know what? I'm gonna have to go to those things. I know it happens from Fridays. I just haven't been yet. But
yeah,
yeah.
They're doing an art show tonight.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Are you busy? Like, do you?
I might have to. I might have to leave tonight. Yeah. No.
And then we can meet each other.
Yeah. So where is this?
Clothes. I might put on makeup though. Don't feel offended.
All right. So where is this thing tonight?
Not. It's at it's in Venice.
Okay.
I have to like look up the link.
Right, that's fine.
It's in Venice. It's part of the Venice Art Walk.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
and it's called LA Tech. I'm sure if you go to LA Tech Happy Hour.
Okay.
LA Tech.
I might have to actually leave the apartment today and check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been signed up for this meetup I think for a while, but I've been down here in San Diego.
It's run by this guy named Zach, who's freaking awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Is that him? Yeah. Zach's. Yeah. There he is.
He's just like such an awesome, genuine guy. Oh, here I'm looking at.
It looks like tomorrow they have pizza and day drinking in Silicon Beach.
Oh yeah, they're doing like an alternate Silicon Beach kind of thing tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, like. Have you guys done the 4-hour body? I think I'm gonna do that. Speaking of pizza.
No, I haven't.
Getting back on topic. So I think that it's a lot of curious people, but I would really love to see like if someone wants to hire a developer, that there's like a core group of LA developers, and I think that there's a few organizations that really speak to that, like LA Tech Happy Hour. I think a lot of Silicon Beach Fest is a mixture of everybody, so you kind of have to filter through what's right, what's right. But I mean, to be fair, that a lot of people want to learn about this world and they don't know where to get started. I know when I was a new entrepreneur, after the eBay conference, not after, like years later, I think it was. I don't know because I don't know the timelines, but I feel like the eBay conference was like way before this other thing. Do you guys know Startup School in Stanford?
Yeah, I love it. I went.
I went to the first one, and that was like epic. Back then there was nothing, so I was like, this is awesome. There's all these developers. It's like,
Right.
Totally geeking out.
Yeah.
And like heroes for speakers, right? Like when I went, I saw Paul Burkite and Ev and Zuckerberg was there the year I went. Yeah.
Okay, so when I went, this is classic. I can't believe I'm seeing this on public video. Like, so I went to startup school. I'm sitting on the grass with Mark Zuckerberg and a couple other people, and we're talking about what he wants us to do with Facebook. And he's like, it was like the guy he was working with was sitting next to me. He's like, we have a plan. We're going to like dominate MySpace. I was like, you guys are crazy. I was like, do you know how big MySpace is? And they're like, no, we're going to take over MySpace. I was like, whatever. Like, I don't think so. Right. Like,
that's awesome.
Why I didn't get like Mark's email and phone number and become his bestie, like, was the worst decision I could have ever made.
I know. You'd be on a jet right now on your $1 billion.
Like ridiculous, But how it's crazy. That was how it was back then,
Yeah. So when are we gonna get a startup school down here?
Oh my God, dude, Jeff. That's a great idea.
When I was up there, I saw Mitch Kapoor speak. He's a great LA entrepreneur.
Yeah.
We've got some great guys down here. Bill Gross.
What do you think the difference is in organization between how they produce Startup School and how Silicon Beach Fest is produced and how Startup Weekend is produced? Because it's all about production, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, production, and the guests and the people, the caliber of the people that are talking.
Yeah.
But come on, it's not like Kevin Winston from Digital LA doesn't want people with caliber there. I mean,
that's true. But honestly, Mike, to his credit, he does put a lot of work into the LA scene.
A lot, yeah.
He does, and I'm gonna give him a lot of credit for that. I just never been to any of the events, but I've heard from other people that have that it felt very sort of LA-ish, whatever that meant, and showbiz thing or clicky or whatever, and it not so. I don't know. It didn't feel very authentic to them, I guess.
I think what you're saying is like you go to startup school in Stanford and it's all geeks. They all really care. It's
Yeah,
very educational, right? There are people that have like
Yeah.
really, have something interesting to say. I think what Amul is saying, as a participant in some of the LA events, there is a lot of Hollywood influence, media stuff that you're getting people from the big
Yeah.
companies that are sort of like trudging through their day jobs, and so they're not as much of the diehard hacker. And I think that may dilute some of the events.
And I completely agree with him. I've been to a couple of JavaScript meetups, and I tend to like going to those because they tend to be like hardcore geeks, and I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit more authentic, but that's just me.
So you think if like we did a startup, startup school, and contacted all the organizers from all the geek organizations to invite them to the startup school, that would create the most
Yeah, maybe
nerd experience.
Yeah. I just have I just have a lot of respect for guys that have built their product. Like Alex, from At the Pool, like he's a hardcore like. He
Yeah,
looked like
he
he
is.
built that thing. He knows what the hell he's talking about. He's sending
Yeah.
out thousands of emails a day. I was very impressed. I was like, holy shit, these guys could really make a big impact.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know.
I'm not close enough to UCLA or USC, but also up like at startup school. In Silicon Valley, they lean pretty heavily on the universities.
Yeah, on
around
Stanford.
them, I believe.
Yeah, the Stanford thing is big. Yeah.
All of the geniuses that apparently come out of there.
Caltech does a lot of that here.
Yeah, we've got great universities, and maybe
yeah.
they are doing stuff. It's just I don't know about it as much. It's not
Okay,
as,
so I'm gonna put it out there.
Internet
So
focused, but
in LA, the biggest guy I always look up to, and I think he's the man in LA is
Mark Schuster.
No, not Mark Schuster. Bill Gross. I think Bill Gross
Gross
yeah.
is
the man. He invented pay per click. He invented the pay on search, and
Yeah.
he was the man. And I don't see him in any of these rosters. I'm like, where is Bill Gross in any of this shit? And
He was at the Caltech. He was at Caltech. TechZulu works with him a lot.
Oh, is that right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I need to start.
It's the first time I saw Bill Gross speak was via TechZulu.
Yeah, like I just think I think maybe he needs to be more visible in some of these events. I don't know, but that's just my impression. I guess I'm
Yeah, he's a hero of mine. I think he's a huge entrepreneur in LA. Obviously,
Yeah.
Idea Lab has put out so many.
Idea
great
Lab
things
is the quintessential incubator. I mean, they were. Yeah.
Before incubators, really.
Yeah, before incubators.
His story
exactly.
is really awesome. How he started all that himself.
Yeah. So
really fun story.
That's it. I think Mark is great. Don't get me wrong. I think he's
oh no,
incredible.
I just said that because that's everybody's answer. So
Oh, really?
Because he's on TV, right?
Yeah. He's just so
He's
much.
on the YouTubes.
He's so visible. I think that's the thing. Is maybe Bill needs to be more visible, but maybe he doesn't need it. He's got plenty of money. He doesn't need to do that shit no more. I don't know.
One of the cool things I heard about Idea Lab is that they have like an ecosystem within Idea Lab. So you have your publicists and your accountants and your this and that. So as a startup, you're completely well resourced.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any LA incubators that you do like? Is there anybody that you?
What do you mean, as opposed to the ones I don't like?
No, that's not what I meant. I mean, are there
Did
any
you favor?
the favorite or
Nah.
No.
No, I really, the thing I care about most is people who are again, it goes back, I know it's about to sound like put soap in my mouth, but people are genuine and like truly like come from the heart, and yeah, it means a lot to me.
So
It just means a lot to me.
Okay, you mentioned being in Santa Monica, right? You were lucky to move there. How important is that, would you say? Or is there like
I feel like it's ridiculously important these days.
Is that right? Really?
Well, I just want to make a note that I think without Coloft,
Okay.
there wouldn't. So I was a part of the like original LA tech scene before there was like a tech scene, right?
Yeah.
And then Coloft came, and Coloft kind of created this hub.
No, you're absolutely right. No, Koloff totally synced everybody together.
Can I? I don't know if I don't know if I should do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Let's do it.
I was asking Coloft. I don't know if they'll like this, but I think I'll be okay.
You'll be fine. They'll get over it.
I was asking Coloft why I didn't see them anywhere in Silicon Beach Fest, and that really bummed me out because I feel that they're responsible for the community that we have today.
I completely agree. They are the LA scene, in my opinion.
This is why this was inspired me so much. This is why they had what it takes to build a community. Listen to this. They said, "You rock. What we did to help change lives through a community we envisioned, believed in, and helped cultivate. It's kind of like being a parent. At some point, you'd like to see what you helped raise thrive on its own. The heart will still keep beating. It's just that now there's arms, legs, and all sorts of other organs to help the body of the community grow. Recognition was never our goal. We are still doing our thing."
Oh, wow. That's
great.
pretty cool. Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they would totally love that. Why are you worried about sharing that with us? That's great.
Because it's a private email.
Oh.
But I never do that.
Okay.
But I felt like that. But that's why they were able to, these people, like, I care about recognition. You guys are doing the show. You want recognition. Like,
Right.
I combat myself all the time because I wish I didn't care about recognition. I wish I didn't care that, like, one of my big things is gratitude. Like, I'm really big. If somebody doesn't show gratitude, it drives me crazy, right? And are you guys familiar with Neil Strauss, who wrote The Game?
No.
Okay, well, there's this author, Neil Strauss, and he's amazing. And what he said is the purest form of giving, and really the only form of giving, is to not expect anything in return, and that includes gratitude. Right. And I'm not there in life yet. Like, if I don't receive gratitude, then I'm like, should I really have given to this person, you know? Right. And so when they wrote me that, I'm like, oh my God, they're so elevated as people. They totally get it. Like, right. How do I get there, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's genuine. It's totally genuine.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, that's.
I'm jealous and inspired.
Well, they have totally inspired so many people. Right down the street from where I live, I'm in downtown Culver City. There's that Next Space.
Yeah.
And there's so many have popped up now, and there's even a meetup group where people just circulate around the city for the free, the free co-working days.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
It's pretty cool. I was like, I should join on this little crowd. This is great.
Now we're talking. Those are some hackers.
Yeah. My wife tells me all the time you should get out of the house. I'm just like, oh, it's so comfortable here. Now with the hangouts, I don't ever have to leave.
Please leave the house for just an hour.
I know. I need to do that. But wow. All right. Well,
I think you guys should organize a startup school in LA. I think this is the biggest takeaway from our little chat here.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. It was one of the most motivating things for me, probably, that in my early on in my entrepreneur career.
Me too. It was core. It was core. It was epic.
Yeah, you're just around people that are in the same place you are, that have the same sort of ambitions and desires, and really everyone's trying to learn and just soak it all up, and just great speakers really do the job.
Yeah.
Get you motivated, charge up your startup batteries.
I think the three of us and a couple other people that we think are the right fit should have a little board meeting about this.
I love this. I love it.
I feel like TechZulu, because they already have the relationship with Caltech, it should be like startup weekend. I mean, startup school, and TechZulu should head it or something if they're interested in that. You know what I mean? Because they already have that relationship with Caltech,
right.
And then Caltech can help, and then we talk to UCLA and USC and all these other schools, and I'm pretty sure TechZulu has relationships with all those people already. You know?
Right.
And then you guys just are like the kind of media people behind it. And, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I have to tell you, you might have actually started a little bit of a fire there.
But what's the difference, do you guys think, between Startup Weekend? I mean, I get what it is for me, but Startup Weekend. Okay, a couple questions. What's the difference between Startup Weekend and Startup School? And then now that there's so much stuff, what's the difference between Startup School and all this stuff that's out there? I went to Startup School, there was not all this stuff that's out there.
Right. Yeah, no, I talked to a coworker who got sucked up into Silicon Valley, which is a theme I always talk about. Living in LA as a developer, it's really hard to not move up there.
Why is that? Why is that? Tell me.
Well, I love Southern California, and I'll never want to leave. But obviously, you talk to everyone, it's like, oh, it's the hub. It's like you can't have lunch with Sequoia unless you live there or whatever. And so people usually have those sorts of answers. But I appreciated my coworker telling me, he's like, look, you don't have to live there to go to startup school. That stuff's all on YouTube now, or they upload it all, right? Like
Right.
all of the great information that we're thirsting for is now online.
Right.
So that sort of challenge has gone away for sure.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. The only thing, or maybe it's about you guys and Zach talking about creating just a place where developers feel comfortable hanging out together.
I do think though that the topic that we talked about during our episode today, authenticity, scaling authenticity, using virtual outsourcing, how to be authentic, how to use people around the world or work with a larger team, how to stay small and be authentic and still somehow scale. I think those are really big important themes. I think product design, where we could all be looking at a screen and we could be all wireframing ways of designing things, I think could be really cool. Absolutely, I completely agree. I believe, honestly, though, for me, I'm a pretty harsh critic. I think I just only trust like big time, like Bill Gross. I don't know. They have to have that caliber. They have to have that track record for me to like. Okay, I'm gonna like actually leave my apartment and go see this guy.
Yeah.
Like that's just. I don't know. Because Jeff's right. All of this stuff is online. Do I really want to? I could just wait for the replay, or I can watch the webinar later, or I can go.
There is something here though. Amul, you and I have talked about like the startup weekend, which you asked about as well. Espree is it's another risk of time and energy and effort. So like as a developer, I've told Amul that I'm not so confident to do another startup weekend. It was sort of an experience. It was a networking event. I got what I wanted from it, I guess. But there's sort of a lot of like you're committed to it. If you go, you got to pay money. You're stuck to these other people for like a whole weekend, which for developers is really scary. I think that they could definitely improve upon the model, which is kind of what we're brainstorming about. I think that it is a little bit intimidating, and I know they've grown throughout the whole world basically, but I wonder how much retention they have of people coming back to Startup Weekend, year after year.
Because you guys, it's interesting. I think the thing, people talk about like LA and people want it to be like one of the main places for startups and a really credible place for startups. And people talk about it's because we haven't had a big win. But maybe it's not because we haven't had a big win. Maybe it's actually the second developers feel like LA is the place where it's at. So how do we replicate that sentiment that developers have about Silicon Valley and put it here in LA, and about creating starting with a small little community of developers feeling like, okay, and what do they need? Do they need more access to the investors here? Is that what they need? Like, because that's what you said before. Like, what is it? And then let's cultivate that, and then maybe that's how it grows to become.
That's a good question. Jeff and I were up in Silicon Valley about a month or so ago. We went to go see this guy at Plug and Play Tech Center, which is like
I know Plug and Play.
It's a huge place, right? And they got like 350 startups under one roof, and the energy was, it's like Koloff times like 5 or 10. It was intense. I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. And we don't have that here in LA. So that would be great, maybe, to have that. The other thing I think is missing in LA, when we were in San Francisco, we stayed in downtown San Francisco. I walked by one of the tech shops where you can go in and make stuff. It's like a place where you can rent tools, or they have all the lathing, and they have all that 3D printing and all that shit there. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I wish LA had like a place where you can go and make shit,
Right.
And there is this place right down the street where I live it's a hacker space called Crash. Crash.
I stayed at a hacker house.
Yeah, and I think if there was a little bit more of that,
David, I don't know how to say his last name, Stavis. He's creating a hacker house for LA. I think it's hacker.
Yeah, stuff like that I think is great. Yeah.
I think it's hackerhouse.la.
Oh. Yeah.
David is a really cool guy. Yeah, that's it. David is awesome.
Hackerhouse.la.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Another one of the things I've actually heard from people at like one of these JavaScript LA events, I think, was that hackers or developers in LA don't feel like there's enough. The venture capital might be there, but it's not very smart. And it certainly doesn't seem to be there for like follow-on. So in other words, it doesn't really the VCs don't trust the products. Like they're not product smart. They're just like, oh, let's bet on this, Series A or this angel round. But then they're not there to lead the B round or the next round. So the startups don't have enough runway to survive off of the VC here. Is one of the comments I've heard, like outside the bar after an event. And, I think there's some subtleties there. Like people are definitely trying to group people up, have events and these sort of things. But there's still a few of the mechanics that seem to be disconnected for the entrepreneurs.
My investor had a meeting recently for this new project he's working on, and he had this huge board meeting of like the top people in the space for this industry he's working with to discuss the state of the space. I wonder if we should have a board meeting like that.
We should totally do that. No, I think it's a great idea.
The state of LA Tech and have the key figures of all the accelerators, all the VCs.
I think that's a great idea.
Developers, no non-developers, because that doesn't seem to make sense, and just talk about the state of the space. Because I think one thing that's been interesting to me is now a lot of politicians are trying to
co-opt us a little bit
of our space.
Yeah, the whole Eric Garcetti, he's coming in and be like, yeah, LA, yeah. I like that.
Yeah,
LA
but
tech scene.
It has nothing to do with tech.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This stuff doesn't actually have to do with anything. It's everything has to do with hype.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I also think, and I forgot we didn't mention this, but Stanford is a huge piece of SRI, Stanford, the Research Institute up there. Stanford, the college, Berkeley, all of that huge brain trust. It seeps out to the land, and we have USC, we've got UCLA, we've got Caltech, and I don't know why we're not getting enough of that seeping out. Maybe it is, and it's just not as visible. But
that's the thing. It's like my mom always says, and I love this saying, half of the world is searching for the other half of the world. They just don't know how to find them. And it looks like, aside from Coloft, we don't have a hub for the state of LA tech. Even in Coloft, people are just building their companies. But it's not like you would walk over to Coloft to hire a developer. Where do you go? Where do you go to hire a developer in LA?
Yeah. That's a really good point. Good. What were you saying, Jeff?
I think that's what people want the co-working spaces to be, too. They kind of are drawn to them and attracted to them that way. And they have events, I think, at night and stuff to help, with some of the recruiting efforts, like you're saying. But, there's no go-to place. I mean, let's face it, the recruiting in LA, I mean, gosh, we saw, what was it, Singly or whatever they were called at the time, doing incredible recruiting efforts online. I mean, basically spending the recruiting dollars on the hiring, $10,000, $20,000, for a hire. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
There's Uncubed LA. That was pretty interesting.
Okay.
Do you guys know it?
No, I haven't heard of that one.
So how weird is that you guys don't know it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is that just how it starts?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or does it need? But Uncubed isn't just LA, and I think maybe startup schools just Stanford, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it just needs to be something that is just We Are LA Tech is just LA.
Well, I have to tell you.
Maybe it's my thing. We are LA Tech. There we go. I gotta get all the.
Well, I have to tell you. I have to tell you, Espree. The big Bible, the daily Bible for all of us is TechCrunch and Hacker News. So for whatever.
Startup School, by the way, came out of Hacker News, right?
News.
It's a Y Combinator event, I believe.
Yeah. So my point is that if enough of the LA thing gets on the TechCrunches and gets on the Hacker News. And I think a lot of that has to do with research, pure research, science research coming out of Caltech, or science research coming out of USC, user interface research, tablets or touchscreens or whatever, some new thing. I think we're not seeing enough more of that. I'd like to see more of that. I mean, we do have Uber. We've got some amazing startups coming out of the LA scene. I'm not saying that we don't. I don't know. It definitely seems like the Bay Area is the big draw. And, I mean, my God, we were up there and we saw a huge bus go by us on the freeway with Box.net on there. And I'm like, God, look at all these people being shuffled from San Jose to San Francisco. And we were never going to see that here in LA. We would never see that.
By the way, how neat is it that we still call it Box.net and now they actually bought Box.com?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they're box now, but like,
Just boxing.
Wow.
see, .nets are cool.
Yeah.
No, not in my book.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. So, anyways, going back to LA scene, it's there. It's growing. Maybe it'll be there in 10 years. Who knows? But it's good.
I don't know. I think there's something about the state of LA tech. Maybe the three of us. I don't know. We could take this conversation offline, but maybe it's something that I could reach out to my contacts and we could facilitate and put together and
you know
have
what?
a little
I'm down, Jeff. If you're
like
down,
one of my investors, who lives here, he was part of the original New York tech scene.
Okay.
So he'd be like an amazing asset to the conversation.
It's funny you say that. New York is supposed to be like number 2 now. It's Bay Area, and New York's definitely number 2. And why isn't LA number 2? But for whatever reason, New York is just kicking ass right now.
Number 3's cool.
Yeah, number 3's cool.
Who is number 3? Not us. Is it Belgium or something?
That's right.
Probably like Austin, Texas.
Yeah,
Let
right.
me get back real quick to the locality. You're in Santa Monica. LA is a big place. You know, it's like
I
fairly
think
spread
it's
out.
Santa
You gotta.
Monica Tech.
Okay. Because it's so spread out, and I'm down here all the way. I'm practically in Mexico, right, in San Diego, and I still call it Southern California, but we're pretty. I'm a couple-hour drive from you, and in between us is Orange County, and I've seen those Orange County people show up at some of the startup events, but in other words, though, there's a lot of ground to cover, really.
There is
in
a lot of
Southern
ground to cover.
California. There's a lot of tech in Orange. Tell me, is there anything in Orange County going on, or is it just like Seagate or Western
Rock's
Digital
trying,
or whatever?
Rock Office Space, right? Real office centers. They're trying to create a hub in
they?
Orange County, and I know Brian Elliott was trying to create a hub of startup stuff. I don't know if you guys know Brian Elliott with SoCal Action Sports Group and LinkedIn OC.
Okay.
He was trying to create a hub with the startup stuff. I'm not from OC, so I don't know, but they're trying. They're definitely not. It seems like Santa Monica is the dominant force right now.
No question. Yeah.
Because
no
of
question.
Koloft.
Yeah. No, Koloft. No,
There's
those guys.
recognition that they didn't ask for.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
All right.
They deserve it.
No,
sure.
you're absolutely right. They totally deserve it. I was.
And look, General Assembly came from New York to LA. That's a huge statement.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
wow.
And they were really good. They started creating all these classes. They started sending out the emails. They were very,
Snapchat decided to build their company in LA instead of in Silicon Valley.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's a big
that's
win.
great.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have a huge thing in I think, LA Times right now.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was going to say, there's so many stories of people moving to Silicon Valley here, moving the business, or at least moving biz dev or
Dude,
whatever.
you guys, we could have the VCs, the accelerators, the head organization developers, like so the Adobe Group, I know him and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
And then we could have like CEOs from like Beach Mint and companies like that, or like Nasty Gal, and like and have the state of LA.
Right. Yeah.
I think that'd be really empowering for the entrepreneurs out there who are trying to dive into it.
Yeah.
That are sort of like measuring the risk and the environment.
Absolutely.
We could even have like a YouTube exec on there because
that's right. They got that big, huge studio now, right? That they've
because
opened.
like, part of the perk of LA is that it's. See, and I don't know if I would get in trouble for saying this, whatever, but I don't think it has anything to do with the politicians. I don't think it has anything to do with all of that. I think it has to do with the developers, the financiers, and the CEOs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like successful CEOs, right? Like Nasty Gal or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with like all this other stuff. So.
Well, I think you're left off the technology. I think the
entertainment is that like we have that upper hand that we
we definitely do.
Yeah, to integrate it into the technology.
Yeah,
which is why I think YouTube would be important.
No, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely with all the second screen, third screen, TVs being connected. There's that. That's huge. Media's big, but listen, Espree, we can go on and on about this, but we should probably cut it because we're probably gonna have some lunch here. And
this is so much fun.
I know.
Really uncharted waters. A lot of the stuff we're talking about. Though.
Yeah,
well, I'm ready for our offline discussion. Am I gonna see you at the art show tonight?
You know what? I'm gonna email you and definitely I'm gonna send you my phone number. We can talk definitely after this, and
that sounds awesome.
And hopefully I'll
you
make
guys,
it.
I'm not kidding though. Like, I mean, just before we get off, do you think that we should carry this conversation offline.
Absolutely. I think we totally should.
Absolutely, we should, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we totally should.
So, everybody watching, you've witnessed the beginning of something epic.
Exactly.
That's right.
That's what we like to do here on the show.
World domination.
That's right. That's so funny.
There's no snakes on this plane.
It's funny about this LA thing. Jeff and I had a late dinner one time at a Chinese restaurant up in the Bay Area, and I was like, should we even move up here to the Bay Area to do the show up here? And yeah, it's a big deal, you know. Bay Area and the LA thing. It's a huge draw, and I would love LA to be as big as
Andrew Warner from Mixergy. He started in LA.
I know, but now he's up there. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But now he left.
So I could email Andrew, see if maybe he could be in our state of LA.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
But we can ask him, hey Andrew, why did you leave? You could not resist that draw of the San Francisco scene.
It's important to understand.
Yeah. I completely agree.
State of LA.
State of LA. All right, awesome. Well, cool. You know what? This has been an awesome interview. I had no idea this was going to go this far and so many different directions. You know, unfortunately, in the YouTube title limit, like we have like 120 characters or something. I don't even know how. I was thinking about it while you were talking. I was like, how am I going to encapsulate this in a YouTube title? There's no way.
Just use the word epic. That seems to be my favorite word.
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess I could. The most epic interview ever.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That works.
Yeah. But anyways, thanks for coming on. If people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Oh, just tweet me at Espree Devora, or you could send a messenger bird or whatever works.
Awesome. And if are you looking to hire anybody, or you're looking for any resources? If you wanted to call
me, I have the thing 5623 dial me.
Okay, there you go.
Very funny. It's more like an inside joke of myself.
Are you looking for hiring anybody? Any resources that you need?
No, I'm solid right now. Really, what I want is as many people as possible to feel welcome to be a part of my community with Save Business Time, to go to SaveBusinessTime.com, check it out, and sign up and know that my intentions are so in the right place, and I want to build this with you. It's about the both of us having a mutually beneficial relationship.
That's great.
That, and also if you are in LA and you want to find out where all the events are, the easiest way to do that is going to wearelatech.com, and the calendar's there. It's free. It's a Google Calendar. You could press the little button and import it into your calendar, so you never have to look at the site again. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, that ends our epic interview for today.
Thanks for having me, guys. This has been awesome. It's been so much fun, and I actually think that we've done some good work here, boys.
I think so.
Glad that you we really appreciate your time. We are truly gracious that you joined us, and what a great conversation. We had no idea what we were going to be talking about.
Yeah, I had no idea what we were in store for today.
I almost think, you guys, that we should split up this video into two different videos, one about LA and one about the other stuff.
Authenticity and scale. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think the LA topic is really important.
Absolutely. No, it's a huge topic. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, thanks for coming on again. I will
virtually see you later, maybe physically see you at an art show, and LA Tech Happy Hour. If anyone wants to join us, if you're watching, LA Tech Happy Hour is where we'll be tonight. And I think you go, where do you go? LATechHappyHour.com or .org.
Yeah.
If you type in LA Tech Happy Hour in Google, you'll find it.
Yeah, it's on meetup.com.
Yeah.
I think.
Great. There we go.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks again, Espree.
Cool. All right.
Bye.
Thanks again. See you online.
Bye.